Welcome, everybody. It's SoccerBeat, and we're talking Chiefs, and it's Tsepo, Masilela, and myself. And as you can see, we have got the top man himself, the Spider-Man, Brian Baloyi. Brian, welcome to Talking Chiefs.
Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this for the last few weeks. I'm a very big fan of SoccerBeat. I've been watching a show and what's happening, and I'm really excited to be here.
So, Brian, we've got that new contract waiting for you. We know you're going to sign a 3-year deal. You'll be our number one. Guys, and those of you out there, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bells, and let us know in the comment section. Tell Brian we want him as number one on every show, and I know you'll be there. Top man. Okay, Brian, first question to you. The penalty. I mean, Chiefs lost 2-1 away, doing very well second half. Goalkeeper Peterson gives away a penalty. Your thoughts on that? Could it have been avoided?
Yeah, it could have been avoided. But I think a lot of people know that, in the last 2 years, I've been a very big critic of Kaizer Chiefs goalkeepers, including him, Peterson. But he's done tremendously well, since this season started, when the coaches decided to make him number one, including making him captain. And he's done absolutely, good work. And but unfortunately, today was one of those where I think the timing and just the lots of concentration. I think, but I think he's had a good run, and I think this is something that will give him an opportunity for him to bounce back.
Tsepo, you see about these goalkeepers, they belong to the goalkeeping club. They'll never say another goalkeeper's made a mistake. They protect each other. Right. Seriously though, don't you think if he came out quicker, because I mean, isn't that the thing for goalkeepers? The quicker you come out, if you're going to come out, the quicker you come out to smother, the better, because then you got a chance of you get to the ball. Where if you're hesitating, you never get to the ball first, especially if the striker's going away from goal. And then goalkeepers tend to stretch for it, as opposed to, so did he not come? I mean, I know you don't like to blame goalkeepers, but did he not come out a little bit late?
I think it was, a split decision. It was him that just decision making. And when it happens that you come out that late, sometimes it's better not to commit when you get there, and just try and stand, and make yourself big as much as possible. And and try and try to see, because once you're late and then you commit, that's when you make such a mistake. And unfortunately, he's making it at a bigger stage, in a CAF competition, and I think hopefully he'll learn from it.
So there you go, young goalkeepers out there. You learn it from the big man himself. You get out early, and if you're not early, don't commit. Tsepo. Second thing, I'm not going to ask Brian this because he'll blame a defender for this one, because I like blaming goalkeepers. One each. A corner, your left back gives away a corner, your position. I'm not sure what he was doing the way he was standing as well. He looked like he should have been side on rather than face on. But anyway, be side on. He gives away a corner. The corner comes. No one wins the ball. They win the ball. It lands to Miguel. And in Africa, as Brian says, in the second error, you can't afford to make 2 errors like that in the box. Why? How does this happen? You can't say, oh, it's just a mistake. It's concentration, as far as I'm concerned. Last 5 minutes. Goalkeeper should be screaming. Brian Baloyi should be screaming, away, away, away. I don't see people attacking the ball. Now, you both have won big things, but your question, Tsepo, defender, you in that position, he was in a kind of left-back position, inside the 6-yard box.
No, definitely, Peter. You've said it, that maybe it's a case of concentration, and I'm sure, he knows he could have done better in that situation, and it goes back now to the results. It looks like Chiefs, they gave away 2 soft goals, and they couldn't get the results. Maybe a draw, come back home with a point, because of those 2 soft errors from the senior players in the team. But it happens. And again, when besides the mistakes from the guys, when I look at their lineup also, I felt like, today's game, the coach wanted more of a draw. Sometimes when you want a draw, you come back with nothing. You must be brave sometimes. And I don't know how he came to a decision of starting Ashley Dupreez. Maybe he analyzed, he saw with with his technical team that, oh, hold on, there's an opportunity for Ashley, maybe pace, down the right hand side. I don't know how he came to that decision, but
Yeah.
they win together, they lose together. It's just unfortunate because it was soft goals.
I want to come back to that. I want to come back to the lineup, but I want to talk. You mentioned a very good point, and Brian, you'll have lived through this. To me, I've been played against Kaizer Chiefs in the 70s, by the way, when there was Ace. I played against Ace, Teenage, Malombo, goodness me, Bull Lahoka, top Wagga Wagga Lakoba. One thing that struck me about that first time I ever played against Kaizer Chiefs, and it's been a thing with Kaizer Chiefs since right up to your time, Tsepo, is that the bravery that Chiefs had. Now, when I'm saying bravery, I'm not talking about diving in with your head. Bravery on the ball, inviting tackles, keeping possession, moving the ball around. People said, Dr. Kumalo, for example, well, I didn't have the pleasure of playing against him. He was after me, but you guys played with him. Brian, you played with him. To be able to walk the ball all the time in tight spaces, that's bravery. To have a striker getting the ball to feet while people are kicking you. When I look at the current Kaizer Chiefs team, the players who look brave to me are the youngest players. Shaba, Vilakazi, Vilabai when he comes on. And when those two came on, the team started to look like a Kaizer Chiefs team, where no matter how small you are, your bravery is in your feet and in your brain. Yep. Brian, this to me has been missing in Chiefs over the last few years. And not enough. They talk about a Chiefs player, but a Chiefs player is brave on the ball. Your thoughts on this? And in this particular team, how do they, shouldn't more youngsters be playing from the start because they're not scared?
Yeah, I think the core coach's downfall is going to be the chop and changing of the team. And a lot of times unnecessarily so, but the one thing when you look at Vilakazi, when he started, he gives confidence to everyone around him. Exactly what you're saying. He's confident on the ball. And that's what the chief player is. When people don't know when people are talking about the chief player, someone who's very confident on the ball, someone who has a bit of arrogance, someone that when you have a Velebai, you have a Vilakazi, including Shaba, and Cele to a large extent as well. He's confident on the ball. So you need such players on the ball a lot of times, more especially when the chips are down. But the biggest thing I think with the youngsters is the coaches need to show them that they believe in them. And that's what will bring out the best out of these youngsters.
Correct. I think Tsepo 100%, because these players, to me, the difference between Chiefs is when those young players play. And Shaba, you can see Shaba and Vilakazi have got a natural friendship, and that friendship is that ball. And when each other's got the ball, you can see that the love in their eyes, that they can make things happen. But Tsepo, let's just go back to your situation. No team can develop a winning philosophy and a winning system unless they know how to play with each other. And Brian mentioned Cele there. He's a fantastic player. He had a superb game today, but he's been left in and out the side. I'm actually surprised he did so well, because a player can lack confidence when he keeps getting dropped and not getting in. Does this not show that these coaches don't know their best team? And they've been there long enough to be able to say, this is my best 11. I'm giving you guys, 9 of you guys, the next 5 games. Go and play. Do your stuff. Obviously, there's tactics and you've got to work 100%. How can these coaches not know their best 11? Because away from home against this team, you still got to play your best 11.
I think also, when I look at the two gentlemen, the co-coaches, also it's a question of experience. I think the situation they in also for them. I know Kaizer Chiefs is not a team where you go to experiment or learning, you evolve. But for them, they in this position because of they came with the Nabi. Nabi, left the team and they were left with these co-coaches. And you look at, we spoke before about their resume or CV. There was no way they were going to get hired at Kaizer Chiefs, if they didn't come with Nabi. So I think they'll also make mistakes. And at this point, man, I'm sure they know their best 11. Maybe they playing the Champions League away and home games. How, some coaches because we don't know how these guys, really what's their philosophy, and we haven't like seen them the whole season or 2 seasons. Maybe they going with this mentality, playing away. You play hard workers, guys that will track back and run in, home. Maybe they'll play a free flowing football, attacking, play on the front foot. But at some point they will need to get their core, 8, 10, couple of changes here and there. It's normal, it's understandable, but you can't all the time bring 3, 4, 5 changes.
Brian, you said at the back there at the goals, looking across the field, you must have known when the ball got to Doctor or Shoes and players like that, Sheikh Shangwani, you knew something's going to happen. The thing with when I watch this Chiefs team, and how can these coaches not understand that when Shaba gets the ball and Vilakazi gets the ball and Cele gets the ball, you want the ball with those players, and those players have got to be in the team. If you were, and you're a Chiefs man at heart, and so is Tsepo, if you were part of the Chiefs management, what would you say to those coaches about the team going forward? Because they're inexperienced. If it was a kind of a Baxter, a Mushinur Tegral, or these kind of guys who've been, the Jeff Butlers of this world and so on, that's fine. Your Dolazars who've been around the block umpteen times. But these two are still novices to a certain extent. What would you say to them about the starting lineup, and in particular with the youngsters? What would your advice to them be, knowing Chiefs like you do? I mean, the Chiefs runs through your brain, your veins and your brains.
Yeah, both there. But for me, first thing I would say, I think we've touched on how inexperienced both coaches are. And we have to be honest about it, that two coaches that have never really been, coached at the highest level and coached, they've always been assistant coaches. And now they're coaching one of the biggest clubs on the continent. So the club needs to make a decision quick about who's their next man. Because clearly there's no way the next season they're going to keep them.
Yeah.
So, and for me, I would say as well, you need to bring someone in at the club who is a technical director, who's experienced, who will help them to finish the season if you're keeping them throughout the season, because they're going to make a lot of mistakes. And some of those mistakes that we're going to make is not understanding the South African players as well, South African way of thinking, of playing with the ball. And for me, until they understand that Vilakazi makes us tick, Shaba makes us tick, Cele, you were saying you don't understand how Cele can play so well after being out solo. Cele is a true professional. From when he first came, put on the Chiefs jersey, you could see when he goes on the field, he leaves his heart on the field. He goes out, he fights, and he's got a football brain. And there's not many defensive attacking midfields that you'll find that has the big heart like he has, and that would have a football brain, And again, I guess playing in Portugal, that experience that he's got.
Although, Brian, let me tell you something. A lot of our players never played in Portugal, and they had Doc and guys like you and Tsepo. I mean, he did those. We've got football brains here. The thing that I compare this, and Tsepo, by the way, I'm glad you're part of the Cele club, because myself and Tsepo have been saying he should be the first name down on the team sheet, and then Shaba and so on. But just an interesting point about, first of all, co-coaches don't really work. Somebody's got to be in charge, because they keep going, well, can you imagine they're saying to the player, well, I want you in, but he doesn't want you in. Or, I like you, but you've got to... I don't think these things work. And when you talk about, and I want to say this to Kaizer Chiefs fans out there, when Brian talks about, that they've got to understand our players, the way I look at it, and I think this is a good example, is that if a guy wants to play music and he starts playing rock and roll, our people will dance. Or he starts playing classic, our people will dance. But when he plays our music, everybody will dance, and they'll dance way better, because they can feel it. They know the rhythm. It's in our culture. It's just there. So you've got to be able to understand our rhythm, our music, to be able to coach Kaizer Chiefs. And a lot of coaches who come from overseas come and conduct us to the music that is not our music. And I think that's a critical thing. And when I watch this Kaizer Chiefs team play, it doesn't look like a team that is in tune. That's my fear. And Tsepo, I don't know what you think. You're not as outspoken as I am, and Brian. Is it a team that is this Kaizer Chiefs team play a Kaizer Chiefs tune, or they're still learning? And if they're learning, is the coach picking the right players? That's the final question to both of you.
I don't think it's a matter of learning. Once you signed, it's also understanding the culture of the team. It's deep. When you say the other players playing the Kaizer Chiefs tune, it deep. It goes back to the type of player that you sign. To come join Kaizer Chiefs. So you look at the culture, look at the philosophy. Am I signing a Kaizer Chiefs player? It all starts there. Sometimes we tend to blame the players, but also the signings that they made, they make. Sometimes you question yourself: are they signing a Kaizer Chiefs player? And for the current guys that are playing there, they do show glimpses. It's just unfortunate that they're not consistent. One day they look the part, tomorrow you ask yourself, is this the same Kaizer Chiefs I was watching last week? So if they can get the consistency, and to be honest, also credit to them, they're not in a bad position this year. If you look at their in the league, they're in a good position, and they still in Africa, they still net bank, there's still a whole lot to play for, but they just need to reach that level of consistency, like everyone, even the coaches with their selection, with and the play also from the players. I'm sure there's still a lot to play for, and hopefully they can just get that consistency.
Before I ask Brian the last question about what do you suggest any changes for the Zamalek game, there's no ways in Brian Baloyi's day at Kaizer Chiefs or Tsepo Masilela's day at Kaizer Chiefs would you be saying, well, being third and coming in and then not doing too badly as Kaizer Chiefs, it would be Chiefs have got to be winning this league. They will win the league. It was either Chiefs would win it or Pirates or Sundowns. It wasn't like it's Sundowns or Pirates and then Chiefs are doing okay. That's something's got to change, and hopefully that'll change soon. So Brian, let's look at the Zamalek game. That's going to be a massive game. Zamalek, also Egyptian side, they're definitely better than Al Masry. Playing at home. What more attacking lineup? Would you start with the youngsters?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you look at the team, even the older players, there's no more, players that you could say are more experienced, more especially, or even in terms of the Champions League, than the young boys are. So, and so when you look at the team, and the coaches are going to have to answer a lot of questions. We've signed a lot of players. One of the players that we've signed that we all want to see is Mabur. So we and as a player that has all the experience with Sundowns, and also so again my fear is again they're going to chop it and change the next the lineup again, and for me then players don't have confidence. So even players start not having confidence in themselves, and again you have potentially 3-4 players that still have a shot of, if they play well, they could still make it through the back door into Bafana. So these are players that are just pushing themselves, including your Cele, your Shaba, including Villa. So coaches just need to I think sometimes as coaches, coaches don't want to show players that they believe in them and that the team is playing around them. Sometimes it's a matter of pride. But I believe right now there's 3 or 4 players that the team should be playing around and playing according to their strengths.
Well, guys, that's fantastic. We'll be back for the Zamalek game next week. And Brian, I'll be doing an interview with you there'll be the guys out there. They wanted me to do an interview with your career.
All right.
Focusing on Kaizer Chiefs. So until the Zamalek, I'm Tsepo and Brian. See you then. Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Bye.
Peter. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Had so much fun. Thanks.